It's a Monday, and I know every single Monday we like to motivate you and get you out there and ready to seize the week. No Monday blues. We're making sure you get out of your comfort zone and get what you want. And our next guest, and the conversation we've had even before going on air, just makes you realize that, I mean, you have all it takes. You can go out there and do all you want. Today, we're talking to Jalal Balala. He's the executive director of Al Aziza General Trading Company. He also has an exhibition organizing company. This man has done so many things. Also, he was a late night editor. I've just learned that right now. Worked in the press and then decided to go into business. And on top of that, he's also a cancer warrior. Diagnosed with cancer of the bone marrow, but survived that and lives to tell the tale. And is just a ball of energy. When he's in the room, you can see this is the guy you just need to talk to, and he's here to share his story from where he started and, more importantly, where he's going, because he's taking everybody along with the vision that he has for success, especially as far as the African continent is concerned. Bwana Jalal,
Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome to the show.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah?
I am inspired by the youth and
Right.
your energy as well.
Right.
And I'm happy to be at K24 again.
Asante sana. Asante sana. Of course, we had to have you just before you dash back to Dubai. Let's talk
right,
about when you are based here, growing up. You know, I'm always curious, because talking to you, you've been in the media, you've done business, you've been in different sectors.
My life has been fascinating.
What do you
really.
want to be
It's been
when you're younger?
A roller coaster.
What do you want to be when you're growing up, when you're a young lad, when you were asked, Jalal, what do you want to do?
I wanted to be a playboy. It was nothing serious.
Right.
But my name is Jalal Balala. Jalal Muhammad Balala. My brother is the CS for tourism, my young brother. And I have another brother who was prominent in the politics of Kenya. His name is Sheikh Salim Balala. And he was under Kibaki for many years as the Assistant Minister for Finance and Economic Planning during the Kenyatta and Moi eras. I was born in Mwembe Kuku in Mombasa, opposite Mwembe Teari. And we were born in a Makuti house. I mean, we lived in a Makuti house. It was a very humble beginning. My father was a butcher, and he had a small shop. My mother was a homemaker. I mean, she took care of us. Salim, my brother, was the breadwinner, actually. He used to teach English at 18 to 19 years. And I remember, before we had dinner, I mean, the money had to come. After Salim taught the students, then he would get 10 shillings. And somebody would relay that 10 shillings to my mom at home, a kilometer away or so. And then that would go and buy ugali or bread or something, then we would have dinner.
When you saw that, did you ever think that I want to be a teacher as well? Did you ever think about that? Did that cross your mind?
No. I always thought I wanted to be a lawyer. Because I thought that if you were a lawyer, you would know what governs you and the laws that govern you. And if you're good at that, then you would know how to live a free life. I mean, that's what I thought then. But of course, I was mistaken.
And eventually, what profession did you...
So I was born in Mwembekuku. I went to Kongwea Primary School. And then my father died when I was 10 years old. That was critical. And Jomo Kenyatta nominated my brother as a member of parliament. I remember then he was shifted to Nairobi. He had to come to Nairobi. And we moved from Mombasa after my father died to Nairobi. We lived near the State House in Ngala, Ngala's house, next to Njonjo. And I went to Government Road Primary School. It's still the same since that time. It hasn't changed. I mean, the buildings are the same. So my teacher was Mrs. Wamai. I did well in school. I remember then I went to Delamere Boys Secondary School, which is Upper Hill. And I studied with Tole, Philip Tole, who played in Mwenge and all those, but they were ahead of us, I mean. And those players who were in breweries, the great football players. I left, then I got a scholarship to go and study in Kuwait.
What did you study while in Kuwait?
In Kuwait, we had to start all over again. I started primary and did secondary and did...
Are you serious?
Yeah, imagine. But we were skipping. We were doing primary in 3 months. Every year we were doing it in 3 months. But we started learning the Arabic language, the Islamic faith and all that in depth. And then I graduated from an institute, the Kuwait Institute of Applied Technology. And in that, my major was electronic communication. We studied electronics before even Bill Gates, I mean, did. I'm 62 years old. I was born in 1957, July 25th, in Mwembekuku.
And the thing is, you don't
before
look
independence.
You don't look
And I witnessed the independence, the fervor, the euphoria of independence, the period of Jomo Kenyatta. I went to State House. I saw Uhuru when he was small.
Right.
Because my brother was an assistant minister at that time. So whenever Kenyatta would come to Mombasa, we would go to State House.
Right.
And we'd see Uhuru.
So you've seen him growing up.
We've seen him. Exactly.
And for you, while in Kuwait and getting your degree in electronic media, and that's what you wanted to do, you went in the media for a while.
I mean, when I finished college, 6 months I went around looking for a job. Nobody would employ me. Where have you worked before? I don't have an employment record.
Right.
I'm a graduate, but I didn't have any employment record, so nobody would take me. Then I had no money. I decided to take any job. Kuwait Airways offered me a job. Somebody had to intervene. So I got a job in Kuwait Airways in the engineering department, and I took it. I didn't refuse.
Right.
But it was not enough, the money that I was getting, and I had already married. At 20, I was married, I had a baby.
Wow.
So I looked for another job.
You weren't investing any time.
No, it was a challenge for my mom. She said, you can't fool around with other people's children. If you're man enough, go get married.
Right. And you took
by that time, my girlfriend had already got pregnant. So I said, no, I want to get married. I'm a man.
Right.
To save the situation, and it happened, you know. But eventually, when I graduated, I looked for a job. I couldn't get a job. And then I got a job, and I enlisted. And then I looked for another job. And I got a night job as a proofreader in a newspaper. It's an independent newspaper. It's called the Kuwait Times. And I worked for 6 years there. When I left, I was late night editor. I was the ombudsman. I put the paper to sleep.
Right.
And who noticed me was the editor-in-chief, because I would correct his editorials.
And he was
so
like,
every time I go, he says, who's this guy who's correcting my English? So he called me and says, Balala, you're very good at English. I mean,
and you know,
I want you to be in charge of editorial. And then he made me sub-editor, and then I ombudsman, and then he trusted me because we had a censor board in the newspaper who would censor the news, because the Kuwait was sensitive. That time there was a lot of stories going around. So they had somebody from the government who would sit with us and, okay, this news item, don't put it, or change the words of this.
Right.
You know how it's done. And they trusted me in regard, because if they put any news item, the newspaper would be closed. And if it's closed for 3 days, they lose a lot of revenue.
Right.
So
the stakes are really high.
So they gave me a very important position. But then I resigned from Kuwait Airways. In Kuwait Airways, I was an assistant engineer in charge of the black box.
All the sensitive information.
Very sensitive. Electronic. Kuwait Airways was the first international airline company in the Middle East to initiate the auto landing system. That time, pilots could fly the aircraft, but they could not land automatically. The runway had to be made ready for it to land automatically. So we were the first people to actually have automatic landing on Kuwait Airways. And we had the best records. I mean, in terms of service and everything. We would never, meddle with anything. We'd just change. Take out some, put a new thing. Now, when the black box comes, it's an orange box. It has 2 cassettes inside. And then we remove the cassettes, we back them up, we check the information. I deliver reports to the entire engineering department.
I'm sitting here listening to this guy who's gone through media, who's gone through airways.
Yeah, and I've been to Boeing. I've seen how the airframe is made. I've been to Airbus. I mean, I know everything about aircraft. It's a boring field.
And the question people are asking right now and listening to this story is because as you introduce yourself now, you introduce yourself as a tea and coffee specialist.
We got to tea and coffee. How we started tea and
how
coffee.
you got into tea and coffee?
Yeah. When I was working for Kuwait Airways, I was thinking, wow, every home in the world must have tea and coffee.
Right.
That's the business, and we have the best tea and coffee in the world in Kenya. So why not go into tea and coffee? So I started putting some money together, and I bought a couple of vehicles from Japan. I exported them to Mombasa. My brother sold them. We started our first company. As a service company, it was a clearing company. So we'd clear services in the port because the port is the first facility.
Right.
And that was the service everybody was doing, so we did that.
You did
then
that?
we started offloading goods and loading tea and coffee. That's how we learned the trade.
Right.
But it was a mistake. I mean, we left the services industry and went into trading. Trading is dangerous because you invest your own money. Services, you invest your time, your effort, and all that. There's no money and you make money because for every service that you give, you get paid. And it's a good line to follow, services. They say if you're waiting on God, do what waiters do. Serve.
Right. And you know,
do what waiters do, serve. You're waiting on God. You want to do God's work on earth? Serve people.
and I like how you talk about this and the positive outlook you had, because you grew that business, you went to Dubai and do this, but
I
also
left a
this-
thriving business for my brothers here.
To go and start-
Tanjal Investments, yeah. We were
started there.
exporting $8 million of tea, worth of tea, by the time I left. Yeah. And I started a new establishment there in tea and coffee because I took myself, I was always conscious and thinking, what can I do? What can I do to
Where do I go
improve the business? So I was thinking, people were afraid to come to Kenya. Because of the situation in Kenya, the culture in Kenya and all that, business people would refuse to come to Kenya because they're afraid. A businessman and a tourist, any country he goes to, the first question comes to his mind, am I safe? Is my money safe?
so you decided to take it
So
to them.
I said, I'll bring myself closer to the market. Because I went through Dubai and I saw people were coming from all over the world to buy from Dubai and to, in suitcases. Women, men, you know. So I said, wow, this is a thriving hub. We must come here and market our tea.
Let's talk about what happened in Dubai as well, because you did get a lot of success there, but also you got quite the diagnosis. You know, for some people who might sit and listen and be like, this guy got cancer and is now cancer-free, you're joking. You're
I'm
joking.
cancer-free. I am cancer-free.
Because you told me it was all a sneeze. You sneezed and discs in your
I just
neck
returned
snapped.
from Nairobi on a business trip, marketing Africa Pavilion. I'd landed and I went home. I wanted to take a shower. I went to take a shower. I came out, I put on the AC. The phone was ringing. I picked up the phone, and that's the moment I sneezed. When I did, my back congealed. 3 of my discs collapsed, and I didn't know. I fell immediately. Until the next morning, they took me to the hospital. That's when now they gave me the painkillers, and I started walking, but I wasn't properly. So for months, I kept on going from hospital to hospital, diagnosis failed. Then I submitted myself to the Rashid Trauma Center in Dubai. I gave up. I even called Najib, and Najib said, listen, you got to check yourself into a hospital. Go see what is wrong with you. So I went to the hospital. I said, listen, I have problems, and I don't know what it is. You have to look at me. So for 9 days, I sat in the trauma room, because there were other beds. People are dying all over around me.
And you don't know what's going on with you.
I don't know, because it took 9 days for diagnosis. But I knew something was really, something wrong. And that's the time when you got to be tough.
Right.
You got to tell yourself that no matter what happens, you got to remain the same. As long as you remain calm and you remain tough and you refuse to succumb to whatever ailment that you have, that is a positive thing to do. The first thing to do.
And for you, you got your treatment in India. Kenyans know that, especially when it comes to such severe cases, they go to India.
Because
for
they couldn't treat
treatment.
me in Dubai. In
And
Dubai, they didn't have the equipment. They told me you have to go to America, London, somewhere. I said, go to who?
But you said you went to-
A friend of mine had a friend, his sister had the same problem.
That you had.
Yeah, and I called him. I said, come, tell me what is going on. So she explained everything, how she went through it, and who treated her, how she got cured. And the story is sad itself. If I tell it to you, it's very sad. But then I realized this is the doctor I wanted to go
That's
to.
where you have to
But
go.
I couldn't, because I was paralyzed for 5 months. I couldn't walk. So I had to learn to sit, then to stand, then to walk, then to get in a wheelchair, then to go to India, then to get down, go to the doctor, and so forth. So that is a process in itself, and it took months.
Wow.
I sold my car because I couldn't drive it anymore. Yeah, and to pay the bills as well. So
And you're seated here now, and I'm sure the most automatic question is, so now after treatment, do you live your life differently? Are there foods you don't eat? I can see you drinking coffee.
of course I drink coffee. I eat anything and everything. I smoke, I do everything. I dance, I drink, I do everything I do.
Aren't you afraid of-
it's not the issue. I'll tell you one thing, okay? Health is in your mind. This body is a gadget. It's a machine,
Right.
yeah? And it can cure you of any ailment, because have you ever seen a dog ask for a Panadol when he has a headache or something? Or the animals. They live their lives, naturally, and you have to live your life also, as much as they do. You're also a being.
So you feel you
They're
can,
creation.
you can think your way to health.
You can think your way to health, and also you can balance your health in time of because you're a machine. And ever since you were born, you're like this, a lump. Then you started growing. What made you grow? It's the food you took. The bread, the mandazi, the mahamri, the mbazi, the ugali. This is ugali, all ugali. You are different. You're in here. You're not even here. Because this is an instrument that you can use.
Right.
This guy can use this instrument.
Uh-huh.
It's
So this is the guy.
Everything is here. Everything is here. Because I'm an electronic man, I know the field here is a lot more powerful than the field here.
So how do you protect this? How, if this is everything?
That's why
how do you
your
take care
mind
of that?
protects. And what is the mind? Your mind is not the brain. Mind your step.
Right.
You have to combine two things. Yourself and the instrument that you're using. This is an instrument which you will use and you will continue to use.
Right.
But if you misuse it also, it can get you to do things that are bad.
That's
So
pretty
you
profound.
need to separate your body from yourself, because this is Mandazi and this is you in here. So you need to balance. You are a community of cells, 50 trillion cells. Yeah? And this blood system that you have is a very complex system.
Right.
Imagine the traffic lights in there.
And they all know where to go and what to do.
Exactly. And it's not you. Now, right now, you're sitting there and you're breathing. You want to breathe? You're breathing automatically.
Right.
Did you choose to be born who you are today? Did I choose to be born Jalal, to be born an Arab, to be born white or black or green or whatever? I didn't choose. It was not my choice. And nobody's going to consult me when I die. But in between, I have this chance to enjoy this gift that was given. I'm in grace right now. You know what grace means? Thankfulness. Every day is a gift. If you ask me about the purpose of life, or what is the meaning of life, then you need to find it for yourself. Yeah. What is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is to discover your potential. And when you discover that potential, now you have a purpose. You go and execute that potential, and you spread it around.
Let's talk about that, because that's something clearly you do over and over again. You got the general trading company up and running, and then you went and started the Africa Pavilion.
And I
you
can still start many companies.
You realize it's a big space. You need to bring African entrepreneurs to exhibit what they have. How did that come about, and how has it grown
I
so
was
far?
an exhibitor. In the year 2000, I was invited to the Global Village as a trader, a tea and coffee trader from Kenya.
Right.
And I did a lot of sales. It was just for 1 month. Then there, I met other exhibitors, Vinyago, handicraft, about 9 of them. And then, they saw me, I was well off and I was, doing well. They said, Balala, why don't you organize an African pavilion? I said, I don't have the money and I don't have the know, I don't know anything about it.
And there it is, even as we talk about what's going on at the pavilion.
So then the Indian pavilion organizer asked me, said, listen, you get the Africans, I'll build the pavilion.
Right.
And I'll give you 40,000 dirhams. I said, okay, fine. So those 40,000, I went, worked with them, you see? And I came back, I brought a lot of 27 exhibitors.
Right.
But it wasn't, we built the pavilion, it was beautiful, we did very well. But it wasn't enough. So the Indian pavilion organizer decided to bring in some Chinese exhibitors inside the He spoiled my pavilion. I got very angry. What? Kenya pavilion was shining and all the ambassador came and all that. So the next year I said, no, I can't work with you. I'll do my own pavilion now, since I know.
Right.
And that time it was still very cheap. So they were encouraging more and more participation.
Right.
So they helped us participate. The government never helps anybody, by the way, doing things like that. So you can't even expect any help from government. So that year, the next year we won second best pavilion award in the entire Global Village out of 46 nations. After India, my mentor. And the embassy, the consulate, the news was all over the place. The ambassador got angry. He came and he demanded from Global Village, don't give this to Balala, I will do it next year. So the government took over the pavilion. And they did it for 1 year, and it failed, and then it disappeared from the Global Village. Kenya disappeared from the Global Village. So the next year, I organized Tanzania. I spoke to the Consul General. He said, organize Tanzania for us. I said, okay, I'll do it. And I organized a beautiful Tanzania pavilion. 15 MPs came from Tanzania. 5 ministers. Wow, this is great. Who did this? A Kenyan. We don't want Kenyans to do it. Tanzania disappeared from the Global Village. So the Global Village was asking me, what is going on? I said, too much politics. Let's do a pavilion East and West Africa. Remove the politics. So I did. I brought the Senegalese and the Nigerians and the Kenyans, and everybody came to the pavilion. So we did that for 3 years. It was very successful. Global Village called me. He said, do Sub-Saharan Africa. The whole of Africa. I said, okay. So we brought in more countries.
Right.
So now we're 13 countries from Africa in the Africa. But I want all the 51.
Your vision is to have every single nation represented
necessary.
in the pavilion.
I'll tell you why. Global Village is a platform. Dubai is a platform. It's a commercial hub. And it's the largest in the Middle East. Yeah? The infrastructure is state of the art. The facilities are free. You know, the services are trigger.
Right.
I mean, you can go to any place in the world, you can travel, you can do things with ease. In a day, I can do 2, 3 things. In Nairobi, I can do only one thing.
Right.
So the infrastructure is available, and it connects Africa to the rest of the world. If you want the Americans, they're in Dubai. If you want the Chinese, they're in Dubai. The Germans are in Dubai. Go to Dubai and offer your services.
It just makes
You don't need
sense.
to go to China. You don't need to go to Germany. You don't need, and it's easy for Africans to go. And it's just 25,000 or 30,000 shillings worth of a ticket, the ticket costing to Mombasa. So do.
Why not?
Why not?
And for someone who's
And I'll tell you, handicraft business is $1 billion business.
So all they need to do is get to the market.
Of course, and the government needs to help those people. You know, the Kenyans, they go to Portugal, they go to Spain to sell their wares, they go to Brazil, they go everywhere. Nobody's helping them.
You know, it's interesting when you talk about that and you say that the government needs to do more. Your brother's in government. Do you ever have that conversation and tell him, bro, you guys are failing?
My brother is not doing enough.
Do you tell Najib that
I
to his
tell
face?
Najib, and I tell him he's a public figure. He should take criticism from everybody. We pay his salary, we pay his children's salaries, we do everything for him. Yeah? He should work more for us. I mean, Kenya can realize 5 million tourists. I can bring 5 million tourists to Kenya. He's bringing 2 million, it's nothing. He should do more. And he should do something, he should work on something new. He hasn't brought in any new ideas. He's the first person to inspect the SGR. Go to the SGR. My grandmother can't go on the SGR because it's tedious to go to the SGR and come from the SGR. And the services also. And let's not clap our hands for anybody who's done the SGR. It's still not proper. No, it doesn't cover the entire country and all that. And this problem of Mombasa with the SGR, this is a nonsense thing. They should clear it.
Wow.
Yeah. So Najib can do more. And he should do more.
Okay. And let's talk about some of the awards that we have. We have 3 minutes to go. Time flies when you have a man like Jalal on set. Some of the awards are right here, of course, in the Global Village, as you can see this. And even as you're looking at this, for someone who's probably watching and wondering, okay, fine, I have some curios, I have some crafts, I want to set up at the next
I'll tell you
pavilion.
what you can sell in Dubai. Everything, including employment services. There are more than 50,000 Kenyans working in Dubai. The government doesn't know who they are or whether. We're bringing money back to the country. We should be taken care of. Diaspora stuff. I mean.
Let's look at this, what is going on here.
This is the... we won the best pavilion award, the best pavilion, #1 in the entire global, this one. Wow. This is Sheikh Ahmed. And he told me, Jalal, and next year, try and win the award. I said, I will.
And you did?
I did. Last year, we won an award.
So for you,
the
your
best
vision,
craftsmanship.
Your vision now is to have every single country from the African continent in the pavilion.
And you know what? They're accusing me there. You're a Kenyan, you're helping Kenyans. I said, of course, it's my country, my people. So other Africans come second. Right. So I'm telling Kenyans, please come while I'm there. Yes.
How do they get there? How do they come? Where do they get in touch with you?
It's easy. I actually, sometimes, I sponsor them. I give them a shop, bring your wares, they borrow their wares, they sell them, then when they get the money, they pay me. Some of them don't pay me.
Where can they get you online as we wind up?
I have a website,
so they can
www.africapavilion.com.
Right.
And I'm available, and somebody can Google me.
Right. Just Google it,
I'm an
the
open
website.
book.
They
I
can
have
find
nothing
you
to
there.
hide. And I want to tell everybody about health. Your health, mind what you eat.
Right.
The less you eat, the better for you. This is a gadget. This is a super gadget. This is a super gadget.
How many meals do you eat in a day?
I eat 1 meal in a day.
Once a day?
Yes.
Your
that
breakfast?
guy, Dado, what's his name? That guy went for president. What's his name? Where is he?
Dida.
He disappeared. He's right. Eat only when you need to eat. Because we eat to live. We don't live to eat. Please, guys. And it's a pleasure eating, but it's dangerous. Take care what you put into your body.
Right.
This is a holy thing. Take care. And the water, or how you handle your food. Who gives you the food is very important. Who cooks for you? if it's done with love, if it's presented with love. That's why you see the Muzungus, they present a table. That is love. That is. Huh? So please mind what you eat and mind what you think. Think negative, your body will. Think positive, your body will blossom.
We leave it on that fitting note, and that's why you can see when he tells you to eat 1 meal a day, this guy doesn't look like a day over 40.
You have to do. You
Jalal.
eat to live, you don't live to eat.
Wow. It was a pleasure having you.
Likewise.
My goodness, of course.
Thank
An
you so
amazing story, not only from a business perspective, but also from a personal front and the gems of knowledge that we got from Jalal Balala. And as you can see, he holds no punches, doesn't take any prisoners, his brother, the CS included. You got up close and personal with Jalal Balala.
You've got to be true to yourself.
True.
That's how you're going to live a good life.
Very true. Balal, Mr. Balal, thank you so much for coming through and sharing your story. He said if you want to be part of the next Africa Pavilion, get to the website. Once again, just give us the website.
www.africapavilion.com.
And you get all the details that you need right there, and you can be part of that next one. So
and
that
you can Google
the
me
market
and Google
is going to come
it's
to you.
in YouTube. Yeah,
okay,
everything.
Fantastic stuff. Up close and personal with Jalal Balala right here. We take a short break. We're back with plenty more. We've definitely chased away those Monday blues. This is K24 This Morning.